Welcome back to the Caribbean. It's been a month since my review of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and in that time we've explored the seas, dug up buried treasure, and plundered plenty of pirate booty. We've even exposed a Templar conspiracy or two. So what's been happening in the Caribbean since last we left it? In Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag's newest story DLC, we take the helm as Edward Kenway's former quartermaster, Adewale, as he captains his own ship of free slaves. At the start, we find Adewale in a sea battle against a fleet of Templar ships as he works to fulfill an assassination contract. Unfortunately, a massive storm capsizes Adewale's ship, and he finds himself washed ashore on the island of Saint-Domingue, known today as Haiti, and ends up working with a movement to crush the local slave trade. The story in Freedom Cry is a good one, though it's not up there with what we've come to expect from Assassin's Creed games. Aside from Adewale, we really don't get to know that many characters, and I didn't really find myself caring too much about the main story until very near the end when things started to get interesting. The gameplay in Freedom Cry is pretty similar to what we've come to expect in recent Assassin's Creed titles. There's been a few tiny changes, but for the most part, players won't notice a huge difference. The main changes in the game are the barter system and some new activities. The barter system in Black Flag was based on finding blueprints via treasure maps, plundering ships, and hunting animals, which was then used for trades, upgrades, and crafting. In Freedom Cry, the crafting system has been removed and replaced with a reward system. Adewale is on a mission to free the slaves in the area, and for every set amount of slaves that he frees, he is given new upgrades which can be equipped via escaped slaves in hiding, or via his cabin aboard his ship, the Experto Crave. Upgrading the ship is pretty much untouched and works the same way as the main game, by plundering ships and using scrap metal, wood, and fabrics to build better cannons and hull plating. New activities in the game are all centered around freeing slaves. In the main game, players obtain crew by rescuing small groups of pirates from firing squads in scattered skirmishes. In Freedom Cry, you obtain followers by purchasing or fighting for the freedom of slaves at auctions, assassinating overseers trying to capture runaway slaves, stealing keys, and opening cages. In the place of stealing booty from plantations and frigates, instead, players attack convoys escorting slave ships and infiltrate plantations and quietly assassinating overseers without being seen. Freedom Cry sports some really good voice acting as well. Montreal native Tristan Dilala does an excellent job at coming back to the role of Adewale. The supporting cast is quite good as well, and not once did I get jarred out of the story by cringeworthy acting. Sea shanties have disappeared from the game, but in their place is a beautiful musical score that really beats anything I've heard this year. And for maybe, aside from the haunting strings of The Last of Us, I really didn't notice the missing sea shanties. Keep an eye out this week for a soundtrack spotlight for the music from Freedom Cry. Freedom Cry does have some issues though, and when they appear, they really do annoy. On more than one occasion while controlling Adewale, I'd be free running just to suddenly have Adewale turn around and jump in the opposite direction, as though he'd just run into a wall. I'd also often get stuck in Adewale's neutral animation during combat, meaning I couldn't do anything but run or die because Adewale refused to use machete or gun. Other times, I would be in a fight with a bunch of enemies, and then one of them would suddenly forget that I was there, and start going about his business, just to suddenly turn around and start attacking me again. Freedom Cry is also full of follow and eavesdrop missions. Have you walked away from the computer yet? No? Okay, good. So, to conclude, Freedom Cry is a welcome addition to Assassin's Creed's story. It takes a cool background character from the main game and gives him his own story. While the story isn't spectacular, it's still a fun ride through history with a few epic moments that really stand out as some of the best moments I've had in the franchise in a long time. It does have quite a few bugs and glitches that weren't present in the main Black Flag game, but it doesn't break the game, instead opting to be more of an annoyance. It does come with some neat new activities and revamped barter system. If you're looking for more fun on the ocean of history, then Freedom Cry is in your sights. I've given Freedom Cry a 7 out of 10.